If you're not quite happy with the lights that are installed on your laser, well, let's do a little bit of an upgrade. Today, what we're going to take a look at is how to install a LED light strip onto the inside of your laser. I have a 60 watt Omtech laser, and I am going to do this upgrade. So let's just do a quick little overview of what tools and things I'm going to use today to make this a reality. So obviously we need to have some good lighting so that we can see what's going on as we do this upgrade. These are the lights. I'm going to link the lights to Amazon that I bought, and then some just general tools, and again I'll try and find some links to keep you all from having to go on a hunt. So we've just got some 1" by 1" mounting bases. These are going to stick, and this is just going to help us with the wire. We've got some wire ties as well, and then some just general tools as well. So just a utility knife. I've got some wire strippers. I've got a butane powered soldering iron, a butane lighter, some heat shrink tubing, some solder, and then of course our multimeter, because we're going to need to figure out where to pull 24 volts off of the power supply to provide lighting for this strip. So let's get into it. Okay, first up, we do not need this. This pigtail end here is made for when you're using just plug-in power strips. So I do not need that. So that's going to be the first item that we go ahead and get rid of. So once we got that cut off, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of some of this insulation here. And now we've got the two wires, and we're going to prepare those to join to the wire, which I forgot to mention in the beginning. We're just going to join this together. I'm going to solder it. We're going to put some heat shrink tubing on there, and we'll be good to go. Just in case your light is wired a little bit different. So here you can see that the black wire is wired to the light strip to ground, and then the red wire is expecting positive 24 volts DC. Had to switch things up. My butane soldering iron decided that it was going to try and set me on fire, so we're just going to go with the old tried and true. I'll put a link in for just a kind of handy soldering iron as well as a butane one, because I'm going to need to get a replacement too. So I'm going to do a quick solder job. If you aren't that familiar with soldering, a lot of people will incorrectly melt the solder onto the tip of the soldering iron, because that's what's hottest, and that will get your solder to melt pretty quick. But you need to heat up the metal so that they'll accept the solder. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And then you can lightly touch the solder to the tip to get it to start to flow. But again, you want to wait until you're getting some good. You should be able to touch the solder to the wires that you're soldering together, and it will melt into the wires. That's when you know that that your wires are hot enough. And you can see here in frame, I've already put my heat shrink tubing on. You don't want to make that mistake, get everything nice and soldered up, and then realize that now you can't do the heat shrink tubing. So we've got one done there. Go ahead and heat this one up here, and we'll get this second one done as well. I'm using this is actually speaker wire, but this only will pull, based on the packaging here, 35 watts. So this speaker wire, I think it's 16 gauge speaker wire. It's definitely designed to carry a lot more than that. So we should be fine. There we go. Now our solder is melting right into our wire. So we're gonna let that cool a bit. If I try and move my heat shrink tubing right now, I'm not gonna get it all the way up because it is going to, it will start to shrink in place. So these wires need to be cool before we can bring that heat shrink tubing into place. Okay, so things have cooled down a little bit now. we're simply going to slide our heat shrink tubing over the solder positions there, and then we'll give it a quick hit with the lighter here. And just to make it a little more secure, we've added one more piece of heat shrink tubing, and that's covering up the two that separate the individual wires. So now we've got double protection on this, so we should be good to go. All right, so the wiring that we're going to do here, so we ran through that grommet. That's the same grommet that the original light comes through, and the all sorts of other cables like the inductive sensors for your homing. So I've already removed the covers for the wire runs, and you can see my blue wire there. I've run down. I just finished. I just tinned the ends of the blue wire so that I can insert it here. I don't have the same little pins that they use, and let me get that out of the way so you can see what's going on here. This little gizmo. If you don't have helping hands, boy, get some helping hands. They are really invaluable. So I've already put the meter on this, and those last two blue and brown wires, those are not the ones that you want. That's a 5-volt rail for the power supply. It's the next set, so you can see that that grouping of blue. That is it's labeled on my power supply as ground 1. So that blue is my ground, and then the brown wire to the immediate left of that group between the blue and the red, that is the 24-volt line. So that's my original lighting line, and I'm going to just put these in that exact same spot and just double everything up. All right, so now you can see that we've made the attachments there. So on my machine, this my power supply, you can see the ground is the 3rd from the right, and then the plus 24 would be the 5th from the right. So positive is where that brown wire in between the blue bundle and the red bundle are, and then the ground, actually both the 3rd and 4th are listed as ground 1. So either of those locations can be used to provide plus 24-volt DC for a 24-volt DC LED lighting strip. All right, so we've got the wiring done. I've checked it. It will light up. There is a warning here right on the label to not do this, basically. So, the LEDs need to dissipate heat. So there is some heat generated there, and if you light it up on the reel, that can be bad. But so I'm not going to do that while I install it. But basically, the plan is to come here and then come right along the perimeter of the device, and yeah, so that's the next step. Now, one thing I should have mentioned a little bit earlier is you do want to make sure that you clean the laser, the rails where you're going to be putting this. So I've got my 99% isopropyl alcohol, the link's down in the description, and a microfiber cloth, and I'm just kind of running over the rails here where the adhesive is going to stick. That's just going to give you the best bond and the longest life of the tape there. You can see I'm about halfway done. Now we're just going to do a little bit of cable management, and I'm going to put these mounting bases, I forgot what they were called, mounting bases here, and then the zip tie. Sometimes it's easier if you put everything together before you mount it. It just kind of depends on your access to the pieces, but we're going to get that done, and then we'll fire it up and show you the new lights. There you go. You can see that a little better. Got those last 3 wire tie or mounting bases in there, and the cable ties, and then it's very easy. Just use a pair of diagonal cutters or whatever you have. You can use, I probably wouldn't recommend scissors. It These things are a little tricky to cut, but something like this makes it pretty simple. Well, you saw it in the beginning. You saw we just had the one little light strip down here that comes original with the laser. Well, now we've finished the install of the 24-volt COB lighting strip, and boom, there you go. This thing is lit up like crazy. So much brighter, much easier to see what's going on, even when it's closed. Now, you got plenty. I can see now that I'd really need to get some Windex and clean the inside of this laser. But yeah, what a difference it is. It is quite lovely in there. I'm super excited to have so much light going on inside my machine. What an upgrade. Can't recommend it highly enough. Hey, if you liked what I've done here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that I can keep on bringing you new videos, and we're just going to have a great time together doing laser projects and learning all sorts of everything there is to learn about lasers and CNC and 3D printing. So we'll see you again soon.